Hello, my Teaser King family. How is everybody today? I am fine. Let me send Daria my picture. Okay, so big day yesterday. 2 picks, 2 winners. The way it should be. Houston wins 45-14. I've got the game over 38, which I had at halftime. I had Cleveland 34-23, still a 57, which is what I was focusing on. They actually played a 59, so not too bad. I had the other team winning, but that's okay. You had 2 pick sixes, which I didn't need. They'd already gotten over by the time the pick sixes happened. And the second game I had perfectly. I had KC 20-6. They win 26-7, kicked a lot of field goals, very cold. Miami tag chokes in a big game. There he goes. In the cold weather, Miami has no chance. Well, they overwon. Yes, it did. They got a couple of pick sixes. That helps the over. Although we're over at halftime, so that was nice. Flacco, I don't know. He looked old. So KC 20-7. KC with it's 30 degrees below. You're not doing a lot. I don't know why it was on Peacock. Did 5 people watch it? Especially, once the score got going, I'm sure nobody watched in the second half. But I'm under 50. I told you I did not understand for 1 second that line stayed at 44 for the total. What were they thinking? Who's betting this game over? On a 70-degree day, maybe, but not with the Kansas City defense. Certainly not in 30 below. You're not getting a high-scoring game. So 26-7. Look out for KC. Mahomes in a playoff game. He was dead on. A lot of good passes. They didn't really put pressure on him. I love when they play the soft zone. They don't put pressure on him, and then he sits there for 20 minutes, and then the wide receivers are wide open. So 2 for 2. That was part of my lock, was Kansas City under 50, a joke. So that was a big lock. Again, now I had him in 2 teasers. I had Cleveland over in 1 teaser. See, that's kind of how I look at it. The over in the Cleveland-Houston game I liked, but I don't know the quarterbacks. In KC Miami, you got 30 degrees below zero. I know Tagliavua chokes, and I know Mahomes is not scoring a lot, and they have a killer defense. So nobody realizes KC's defense. So I was right on, 20-6, 26-7, saying, very low scoring game. So 2 for 2, half the lock's in, the other half is today. I still don't understand the Pitt-Buffalo game being moved to Monday. They get fucked. If let's say Buffalo wins on Monday, they got to maybe play Saturday. They probably will, because they're the 2 seed. So Baltimore is going to probably play Sunday, and that'll leave Buffalo on the Saturday game, because we'll go from 6. We'll have 4 games. So right now it looks like if Buffalo wins, then we've got Kansas City against Houston. Interesting game. You got a strong defense against, I'm not quite sure yet. Need more time. Stroud looked good at home. Now he's got to go play at Kansas City. Now we'll see. Buffalo Pitt. We've got Buffalo. Let's see if they win, and then we'll talk about next week's game. If they got Baltimore, Or will they have? No. No. Buffalo will get Houston. No, the worst seed will get Baltimore. So Houston gets Baltimore. It's KC, Buffalo. My mistake. KC, Buffalo. I like KC. Houston and Baltimore. Baltimore. Now we got the NFC today. So let's take a look at today's game. So we lose Pitt, Buffalo. So we got Green Bay, Dallas, LA, Detroit. Hey, Greg and John. Let's see. So today, in the Dome in Dallas, so we got 2 Dome games. We don't have to worry about weather. This Watson, the receiver who's been out for a month, is probably still out for a month. But Aaron Jones is playing. Jordan Love, the wide receivers. Dallas is fully healthy, but really not that good. Prescott and Pollard are just nothing. In the Dome, the Rams in Detroit, Stafford and Goff. What a joke that is. This should be a high-scoring game again in the Dome. Tomorrow, Pitt and Buffalo is the 4:30 game. I don't understand these Monday games. I'll tell you the truth. I think they're fucked because they got to play next Saturday off of a Monday. You lose 2 days of rest. It's ridiculous. Pitt, everybody's healthy. Rudolph against Josh Allen. And this reminds me of yesterday's game with Flacco and Stroud. Flacco, he's a fill-in. He's not going to win you playoff games with this 2 pick sixes. Maybe he had 3. I don't know. I turned it off. And then Rudolph is the same thing. What does Rudolph bring to the table? Has he done anything? Oh, he looked good against Cincinnati. Yeah. Oh, okay. And then he beat a Baltimore team that didn't try. Can be a whole different thing in Buffalo. Now, in Buffalo, we got 19 degrees and 15 miles an hour. I preferred the 26 mile an hour. See, that's the other part. I think this is totally unfair. People have made bets on this game based on 25 mile an hour winds. And now you're down where it's 15 mile an hour winds. It's still cold. It's going to be sunny and 19 out. And with wind, it's probably 0. So it's probably still an under game. But you can't move a game like that. People are betting on the game. You can't fucking just move it. I mean, I bet games early based on getting a good number, not assuming they're going to move the games. What the fuck was that? And then Philly, Tampa. Philly's fine. Hurts, Swift, Smith, Julio Jones. A.J. Brown is out. As we know, Mayfield's still questionable, but it's with the ankle, not the rib. I'm sure the rib's still bothering him, but the ankle. So he's got Evans and Godwin. Reggie White, running back. So I'm sure he'll play. It's tomorrow, and I'm sure you'll see a probable tomorrow. And here you got 67 and no win. So I think Philly's going to just score and score and score, and you can't stop the win with Patricia. So that's your wind update. Let's go to the line. Those 2 games were easy over-under games. Terrible games, though. Well, again, I don't watch the game for the quality of the game. I know the quality sucks at this stage. KC, Baltimore, you'll watch. You'll get a good game. Frisco, and I'm not sure who will give them a game. But, yeah, see, all I looked at is KC staying under and Houston going over, and Houston went over at halftime. I had won my bet. So I didn't care as far as sloppy or not sloppy. Yeah, why Monday games? Well, I don't know. The one's rescheduled for the snow in Buffalo. The other one, I have no idea. I don't think the city can make them do anything. It's all up to the NFL. It's up to the commissioner. It's got nothing to do with the city. Why would Buffalo? What are they going to do? Was it even a snow? I think it was just very windy, but look at the idiots that went to the Kansas City game yesterday. 30 below zero, and you're going to a ball game outside. So I don't think it's the city. All right. Dallas, 750.5. Hasn't really moved. I got 31-24 Dallas. I can't trust either quarterback. We know Prescott chokes in the playoffs. Love, I'm sure he chokes in the playoffs. He was terrible in college. I don't know what the hell he's doing here. Detroit 352.5, up from 51. I got Rams 34-30 at least, probably more. Buffalo 9.5, 37.5. So this total's gone from 36 to 33 to 37. And I still think I'm not changing my 24-9 score. I still think it's 24-9. Dallas 31-24, LA 34-30, and Philadelphia 2.5, 42.5. That number really hasn't changed. It's gone down from 44. Mayfield a little bit banged up, but he'll play. And I don't care if Trask plays, he's better than Mayfield. So I got Philly 37-34. I think they turn it on. Again, the Buffalo game, you got 19 degrees, probably with wind chill 0, 15-mile-an-hour wind. It'll be just like the KC game. So Allen will probably do some running around. I don't see what Rudolph does. Buffalo's defense has been playing better. We know Pitt's got a good defense. Yeah, J.J. Watt's out, but it's not like they only have one guy in their defense. They're a very defensive-oriented team. Maybe Jack Ham and Jack Lambert will play tomorrow. And they'll say, fuck T.J. Watt. So I got Philly 37-34. So what quarterback could we trust? Mahomes, he won. Tagovailoa does this again. He hasn't won a big game. He's never won a big game. He never will win a big game. I saw some highlights. I was watching the highlights, and he throws some stupid interceptions. Yeah, he had that one good pass to Tyreek Hill. They don't go back to it. In case he like floats the ball, right? So he's smooth, and everybody thinks he's good because it's a smooth touch. I'll tell you, he laid out Mozart. He threw that smooth, soft, floating pass to Mozart, and the cornerback just killed him. I mean, it was like 2 steps and boom, he got crushed. That's the problem with the little soft. It looks nice, but it's you just got your guy killed. I saw Taylor Swift dancing in the cold with her Kelsey jacket. Yes, they're dating, I guess. I don't see the big deal about Taylor Swift. Like I said, if I saw her at the grocery store, I wouldn't recognize her. I don't get the big deal about singers or dancers or any of that. Okay, you can sing that. That's great. Do you buy gold? If you don't, well, then the hell with you. So if we go through the games then, so Green Bay is an even team. They give up 24 a game. They score 24. Dallas is an A team with a 20 defense. So Dallas is the better team at home. They should win the game. But they have a guy named Dak Prescott, and they have a guy named McCarthy, the coach, who are terrible. The only thing is, it's like the Tampa game. Mayfield really isn't going to hurt Philly's defense. And I don't think Love, he's going to say hello to Micah Parsons a few times today. So I think if you have to pick a winner, you pick Dallas. Greg and John, I think you do get a good game here. I don't think Dallas 44-3s them, but we only need 44 to go over in a Dallas Green Bay game. I think not a problem at all. And then we got Detroit and the Rams. The Rams are an even team with the 22 defense. They're probably a little bit better because Stafford was out a few weeks, so they probably didn't score as much. And Detroit's an over team. Detroit puts up 28, 29 on you and gives up 27. They're like Philadelphia. If Detroit gets Philly, it's a huge over. So you've got this. So Detroit gives up 27. So the Rams are going to score all day on this because they don't get pressure on Stafford. Maybe they'll get 1 or 2 sacks. But the Rams have a good line, and they can run the ball with Williams. So they're going to run the ball a little bit to tire out the defensive line of the Lions, and then they'll throw it all over the place. The Lions cannot cover anybody. There's one of the worst secondaries in college football. Let's put it that way. I mean, you could say it. Jefferson was wide open in both games, and CeeDee Lamb. What did he catch? 20 passes? I mean, they can't figure out how to double team. They don't have a stud cornerback. They're in big trouble, and they don't put a lot of pressure. Stafford's going to just have a field day. So look for the ball to go up and down the field. Goff, he'll throw his 2 interceptions, which will be the difference, and Stafford won't, and that's probably it. So 34-30, probably a little higher than that. We will see. So today it's Dallas, should be high scoring. Detroit, Rams, it's probably the Rams and should be high scoring. The crowd on the radio. Well, they'll have a big crowd. That'll make a difference. Are you kidding me? Fucking Rams have played in the Super Bowl. You think they're worried about the Detroit crowd being loud until the Rams score a touchdown and then they'll shut up? So, So I think the Rams win the game all the way. And then that will put the Rams back with the Niners next week, which will be very interesting. Now the Niners, neither team tried last week, so you can't really look at that. The first one, the Niners won 30-23. So that'll be an interesting one. Philly and Tampa. So Philly will love it if the Rams win, they get to play Dallas. They've beaten them already this year. Tampa, I don't give much of a chance to win as bad as Tampa's playing, but we will see. This we will see. I think the Steelers will lose, but they'll cover. Rams are a solid overall team. Thank you, Greg and John. We didn't know that. So I think Philly's like a very good team that had a terrible schedule. I mean, a rough 6-game stretch, and they won the first 3 and lost the second 3. And now they lose to Arizona. Okay, they have no defense. So we will see. They're in trouble defensively, but Tampa's probably the one team in the playoffs here that can't take advantage of it. They just aren't that strong offensively. They'll score, but Mayfield's second tier. So we'll see. I think we'll see a lot of points in the game, but that's it. And then Buffalo Pitt. I mean, I got 24-9. I think it's exactly what it'll be. Buffalo in the cold, and it won't affect either team really. Well, they're both used to it. It'll affect them a little. Pitt's going to run it. That's all they can do. But Buffalo really has a strong defense lately. And they're both strong defenses. Pitt's an 18 and Buffalo's a 20. Okay, J.J. Watt's not in there. I don't think it really matters that much, but let's call him a 20 defense. They lose 2 points. So I still think this is very low scoring. Even if it was 50 degrees in Buffalo, I'd still think it would be low scoring. But when you start getting that 0 degree temperature, it's hard to just, get warm and make your normal offense. So we'll look for this game to be a lot of running and a lot of defense. The people are missing that Kansas City is a very strong under team. They're a very strong defense. People think it's Mahomes and he throws for 50 points a game. I assume why that over-under was 44. And here's where I get at Vegas for missing the line, right? I told you it's 34. That's exactly what the score was, 33. That's where we take advantage of using our skill set, finding a bad line, 44, and jumping on it. So, Greg or John, you asked me, do I always play totals or what do I play? And I told you I play the best scenario of the four. I would never have taken Miami. I could have taken KC. I knew Miami had no chance in the weather and would take Liverpool in a big game. But when I looked at the over-under, which should have been a 35 out of 44, and now I go under 50, that was better than Kansas City plus 1.5. And that's how I look at it. It's what's the best play, even though, yes, I thought KC would win. Obviously, I said 20-6. In the Cleveland-Houston game, I had no idea. Stroud finally wins a big game after losing to Michigan 2 years in a row. He shows me he can't handle a big game. Now, I don't know how much was Stroud and how much was – I saw 2 pick sixes in the game. He had a few good throws. Cleveland, I don't know. Where was Myles Garrett? He didn't – did he have any sacks? I don't know. I watched a little of the game, and when I won the over at halftime, I was like, okay, what movie do I want to watch? But okay, they beat. Was Cleveland a good team? I don't think so. They did beat Baltimore. I don't know how they beat Baltimore. I think they got some interceptions. That was Lamar. So give Houston credit. And now they go play, I guess, what, Baltimore? Unless Pitt. If Pitt wins, do they play Baltimore? I don't know what the seedings are. Yeah, Cleveland, Houston. That was the 4-5. So if Pitt beats Buffalo, Pitt goes to Baltimore. Only this time they're going to get Lamar. But if Buffalo wins, then they get KC, and then Houston goes to Baltimore. So then we'll really see, what Stroud's made of. We know what Lamar is made out of, so it wouldn't surprise me if Houston won. But, okay, they won at home in the Dome. That's good. Beating an average Cleveland team. Now, I keep hearing these stats in the car, right? These stats are, well, Cleveland's better on the at home than on the road. Well, that's purely because of who they played. It's got nothing to do. They're not weaker on the road. But if you looked at their schedule, which I didn't do, I'm assuming – I know they had that Baltimore game. They won at Baltimore like 33-31. But this is what people are failing to do. They're failing to look at who they're playing, and the league is so bad right now. You either have 5 or 6 really good teams, KC and Baltimore and Buffalo and, the 49ers. Philly and Dallas really aren't that strong. So that's all you got. Then you got a whole bunch of shit, Washington and the Giants and Arizona and Atlanta and, Carolina and the Bears. And then you got your middle teams like we have here now, Pitt and Detroit and Green Bay and Houston's. They're all kind of middle teams. So it depends who you play, depends on your stats. That's why I break out the stats especially in college when they play the high school teams. I take that 60-0 out because it skews the level of the team, and I want to know and rank the team. So what you have here, we will see. Now, does Houston move up? Well, we'll see what they do. Maybe they do. Maybe they're better, but they haven't played anybody. And the two teams they played, Baltimore and Cleveland, they got killed by. Okay, now they come back against Cleveland. Okay, now we got to see them. Can they beat Baltimore and Kansas City? Then we can say something. Can they win a Super Bowl? I doubt it, but we'll see. And on the other hand, we know Green Bay sucks, although they did beat Detroit. They did beat Kansas City, so they're maybe not that bad, which is why I'm taking the over versus Dallas. I don't trust Prescott, and I don't trust McCarthy. I can't say they're going to win, but I can say they're going to score, and I see Green Bay scoring in the upper 20s and 30s. So I'm like, okay, all I need 24-20. I'm sure I'll get that. But I don't think Dallas is in anywhere near the Niners, which the Niners showed you they're not, or a Baltimore. I don't think they played Baltimore. And then the Rams in Detroit, I know the Rams are much stronger than they appear. They've got Pukaduka with Cooper Kupp and Stafford and Aaron Donald. They've got they're not any different than San Diego, but yet the Rams won 10 games and San Diego won 5 with the same talent. San Diego probably has better talent because they got Khalil Mack and Bosa. And the Rams just have Aaron Donald. And then, now the Rams do have a good running back and a good they had a very good offense and a very good offensive coach. So I think they beat the Niners. Well, maybe, although it's hard at San Francisco. Can they beat Dallas easily and Green Bay easily? Can they beat Philly? Well, the way Philly is right now with their defense, yes, because Stafford will pass all over them. But Philly, I don't know. All those Georgia players, a couple of them are hurt. The coach is terrible, and Patricia. How you put him in and think you're going to get better? This guy doesn't even understand football. He's a fucking moron. Why can't they see that? I don't know. Tampa, no. The Tampa is just they were in a weak division, sort of like Houston. They're in a weak division. They won a weak division, and that's where they are right now. Are they really good? Tampa, no. Mayfield, I've seen his act enough. No. Again, his big win was at Ohio State. That's when he was good. So you break that down. So we'll have 2 more winners today. Well, we'll have 2 more teams. Hopefully they're winners. And then 2 tomorrow, 4:30, and I guess at 8. Yeah, it just really fucks up the Monday games. Why? Now, Philly Tampa was scheduled for Monday, was purely for money, so they could be on whatever Monday Night Football, so ESPN could have a game. But couldn't ESPN have had the game on Sunday night, or So it's like they're trying to, like the Rams Detroit are the Sunday night NBC game. Like, really, you needed a Sunday night game? Okay. But that's what they used to do. I'm not sure what they did in the wild card. I think they showed a noon game, the 4:00 game, and an 8:00 game is what that's what they were trying to do today, but they moved Pitt. But they should have done it yesterday too. They should not have had these 2 and then these 3 and then a Monday night game. Is ridiculous. And they're doing it for the money so they can make $1 million. Like, I don't get it. But terrible degree of having a game on Peacock. You lose viewers. I can't get Peacock. I am not paying for Peacock to watch a game, and so I watched the movie. Right? I'm watching a movie instead of the game. Not good. That's not what you want to do. So I don't, why would you, so in their mind, they think, so let's get to marketing right now. You market your product to get people to buy. Is there a demand to watch a game on Peacock? I doubt it. You're trying to force demand. But have you created a market for it that people will want to watch the game on Peacock? No. What they should have done was allowed you to get Peacock for free. And then maybe there would be a market for Peacock. But there is no market for Peacock. There's no market for electric cars. Excuse me, I got this little hacking cough crap. So you've got to create a market. Like, why do you want to buy? Well, I want to talk about diamonds too. You want to talk about, you want to market, right? That's why you do Mercedes. Oh, I want to buy a Mercedes. And they market it that it's such a good car and it looks nice, and Ferraris and Porsches, that you want to buy one, right? That's how they market it. So did they market it that you'd want to go and watch on Peacock? No, there was no reason to. I can turn on ESPN, or no, I can turn on YouTube a half hour after the game's over and watch the highlights. So I'm not missing anything. If I want to see the score, I go on Yahoo and I go, what's the score? And it goes, here's your score. So that's I don't miss anything. I'm not wasting my time going to Peacock, signing up, and then have to remember to cancel it because I don't really want it. It's not a demand. It's a malinvestment, which is something that's done that isn't a demand. Investments are bad investments. You don't really need to do them, but you do them because interest rates are cheap. So I don't really need to get Peacock, but I'll get it for the game. Really? So it's the same thing. I didn't see the Michigan game because I can't get ESPN. My cable company doesn't carry it, even though it's on my Ruco. So I'm like, okay, fuck you. I watch the highlights, but you got me not watching the game. That's not what you want. If you're marketing something, you want eyes on it. So they're making huge mistakes if they think it's better to force you to pay something. It's not going to work. I don't even think I could have paid for it. I think it was Spectrum doesn't carry ESPN. There's nothing you can do in my mind, I think. But why do you want me to not watch the game? That's ridiculous. You want all the eyeballs on. That's why it's on 247, ABC, CBS today, NBC, is to get people to watch the game. That's where you see it. So that's where football used to be. Oh, it's Sunday. I'm going to watch football all day. It's exciting. I bet on it. Now they've killed it with, let's take 5-minute break because there's an injury. Or, you know what? Let's take 5 minutes to have let's have a review because the refs are too stupid to see if the guy's in or out. We got to break it down and blow it up 1,000 and say, oh, no, look, the toe's inbound. Like, that's not the point of it. Either he's in or not. If the ref is right there, can't call it, he shouldn't be out there. And so marketing, they're not marketing wisely. They're not marketing Apple or Peacock or Apple for that matter. They're not marketing it. There's no reason to watch the game and sign up on another channel. They're out of their minds. That's not how it works. You've got to present something that makes me want to pay for it. And you're not going to get anything that makes me, I don't pay for YouTube because they throw these commercials on at you. And, so not to see a commercial every 2 minutes, buy it for $11 a month and then it'll be commercial free. Well, that's not marketing. That's not getting me to want to buy it. It's getting me to not want to watch it. So they miss these people don't understand marketing at all. Greg or John. Roku does not have Peacock. It's not the point of how much Peacock is. I got movies and shows on Tubi and Pluto and Netflix. And Tubi and Pluto, I don't pay for anything. But I don't want Peacock. I don't need it. I got Netflix and I got Tubi. And what are you going to show me? Actually, I just saw the Cincinnati Kids on Tubi, and it's free. And not a lot of commercials because it's an older movie. I don't know, but there's not a lot of commercials in it. And I don't want to keep paying. We got inflation and a recession going on. I don't need to blow $5 on Peacock. I'd rather blow it on some steaks. But that should be my decision. You need to market that to me like a Mercedes, like a Rolex. Rolexes are not affordable to most people, yet they market them. Look how beautiful this is. And people then go buy the Rolex, right? Nobody needs a $50,000 watch. I don't even have watches anymore. I want to see the time. I go on my phone. So that's why you needed a watch, to see what time it is. Now you don't need the watch anymore. Why pay 50 grand on a Rolex? They market it that look how beautiful it is. And it's something you want to get. And that's my point. So with Peacock, it should be something I want, not I'm forced to watch it if I want to watch the game. That's not how you market. So the people doing this are total idiots, like they are in most other realms right now in the banking. I sent Jenna the Mark McGuire video, and I said, just watch these few minutes, 2, 10, and 30. And she said, well, are they a bunch of idiots? I said, of course. She said, well, the gold price could go down also. And I go, no, it can't go down, because if you understand what makes it go up and down is the demand. Right now, the demand is ignored by the price fixing. But it says once it goes and you kill COMEX, which was the point of the video, is they're getting rid of it, and it'll go to free market. Once it's free market, it'll never go down, because all the other economies are going broke at the same time, forcing everybody into gold. And so the demand will be huge, and the price will go up and up and up and up and up. Eventually it will go down, but not for a long, long time. KJ Jefferson going to UCF. Okay. Why is he still in college? He's played his 4 years. Everything is streaming services, no more physical media. I disagree with that, Greg John. Fuck, I'm watching the football game today. It's on NBC or ABC. What are you talking about? Plus, if you have Roku, a lot of the streaming services, you're not paying for. I'm not paying for Tubi. I don't know what it is. Is it streaming? Is it a library? Is it Blockbuster? I don't really give a fuck. I don't really understand it. All I know is they have movies on it, and if I see a movie I like Cincinnati Kid, I'll watch it. I'm not going to pay for it. I'll go on eBay and buy movies on DVDs, and then I can watch them without commercials. That's how my brain works. But it's not all streaming services. That's not true. There's a lot that isn't. I mean, you get normal. If you get the normal Tubi and you plug in your antenna, there's a lot that are just things. But I don't even understand what streaming is versus what's ABC. Is that streaming? So if there's a movie on ABC, is that streaming, or is that, to me, it's all the same. So I don't get it. So that's my thing with this Jefferson. He's the Arkansas quarterback. He's been there for 4 years. He's getting paid by UCF to go there, and that's where the NFL is going to have a problem, because they're going to say, wait a minute, You're competing with us. We're a monopoly. We don't have competition. Urge the AFL and the NFL. Now they got to compete with college. College is not professional. College is amateur sports. And if you're making it professional, the NFL is going to say, sorry, we have a non-compete clause with the federal government and the Senate. There's no way. So they haven't thought that through. That's coming because this whole bullshit paying for the players is it'll never last. Especially when people like, how are you paying for it? Who's paying Jefferson? Is it UCF? Well, it's got to be coming out of tuition and everything else, right? You got to cover your expenses. But college is all going to blow up anyway because it's too expensive. You start paying $100,000 to go to college. Who has that? And it takes you how many years? And then with this depression that's hitting, people won't be working. You're going to go to college? I mean, you can't. It's not like before. So you're going to pay all this money to go, and you're going to have to make a loan, and you're going to have to pay the loan back. You're not going to have the job to pay the loan back. So this will be very, I would not send my kids to public school, and I would not send them to college. One thing I wanted to talk about was diamonds and the Bears and the Oppenheimer family. So I was in the cold store, and the guy was telling me about how he can't sell his diamonds, and then how Oppenheimer, the Bears, controls the diamonds, but they've come out with manufactured diamonds versus the diamonds that the Bears pulls out of the ground. So there's real diamonds, and then there's manufactured diamonds, which are fakes. He said, but the Bears, thinking that they have a monopoly, wants to charge, let's say, $25,000 for a diamond ring. However, if you manufacture it, your costs are nothing. So they charge $2,000. So most normal people making $100,000, let's say, will sit there and buy the manufactured diamond for $2,000. Is the girlfriend, wife, okay getting a manufactured diamond and not a real diamond for her wedding and as a friend? This I'm not sure. But that's the thing. They've marketed that when you get married, you buy your spouse a diamond ring. It's all marketing. There's no reason for it. It's like in China or India, when they get married, they buy all this gold jewelry. The bride gets gold, the groom gets gold, the families get gold. It's all gold jewelry, so it's not worth much as they think it's going to be. But so De Beers has a monopoly on if you find real diamonds, you've got to cut them up, and they own the cutters. So Russia said, fuck you to De Beers. We've got all these diamonds. We'll just cut them ourselves. And none of the cutters would go to Russia. Apparently that the Oppenheimers, the Beers, so the Oppenheimers are the family that run it. They're South African. Have said, no, if you're a cutter and you go there, you can't work with us. And so the cutters won't go to Russia. So Russia can't, even though they have all these diamonds, can't cut them. Or I would imagine they'll teach people how to cut diamonds and cut them. But, because you're taking a chunk. I've seen this in Amsterdam at the Diamond Exchange. And then they make a ring out of it, and they earrings and necklaces. So they take this big chunk and take part of it and then, spruce it up. It is really interesting. And you can't stay at the red light district the whole day. I mean, you need a break. So that's what they're doing. Now, here's the problem. Do you really need a monopoly in diamonds? You're price setting something. So let's take a step back. Do I need a diamond? No. Except for the marriage, I don't go run and buy diamonds. Now we run and get Mahomes cards, and we run and get gold and silver. Do I run and get diamonds? No. A, they're too expensive. So you can't have a monopoly on something if nobody wants it, or if more or less if nobody needs it. So if I don't need diamonds, what good is the monopoly on it? You can charge more, but you're not going to have any sales. You're better off having the monopoly and pricing it at $2,000 so people can afford, so you can sell them. Because I guarantee you at 20, 30,000, what is it, an ounce? I don't know how you sell diamonds. Um, I guess rings or earrings. I mean, who needs regular diamonds? And with the manufactured diamonds that are the fakes, I just assume have that if I need, because you're only wearing it for looks, so nobody will know if it's real or manufactured anyway. But with that said, it's one of the stupidest monopolies I've ever seen. There's no reason to price fix diamonds because nobody cares. You don't need them. Gold you need, silver you need. So if anybody's going to price fix anything, it should be the other way. For gold and silver should be very expensive because those you need, because this is worthless. So if this goes to zero, you need gold. You need money. I don't need diamonds. If the dollar goes to zero, I don't need diamonds, right? I don't need a Rolex, but I do need gold and silver. So you've been nice enough to keep the price down and wait for us. So we appreciate that. However, I think it's the stupidest monopoly I've ever heard of, a monopoly on diamonds. It's not a demanded, it's a malinvestment. It's not something that I need. At least Mercedes or Ferrari or Porsche, I drive. I need a car. Now, Ferrari is ridiculous. It's what, $500,000. Nobody's buying it. Mercedes, yes, you can get for 50 grand. So that is an option to buy a Mercedes. At least it was 50 grand. I don't know what it is now. But I need a car. I was working there. Had I got an employee discount, I would have bought it. It was funny. It was the only place I've ever worked at. And I've worked at Ford and GM. And all those gave you employee discounts. Only Mercedes did not. So I didn't buy it. It was too expensive. But that's the point. But it's 50,000 and it's Mercedes, and they market it that it's a Mercedes. It's not a Ford or a GM. So it shows a good thing to be in a Mercedes. And when I was in Berlin, everybody and their mothers on the road were driving a Mercedes. I'd imagine they're much cheaper in Berlin. But the monopoly only works if it's something that you need. Electricity and heat. That's monopolies, because you can't really have two power stations in the same area because the cost to make the energy plan is so strong that if you had competition in pricing, you couldn't afford it. So those are so expensive. One of the things about competition, it's got to be cost effective to get into it. So if I sell Canadian Club and you want to sell Crown Royal or Dewar's or Black Label, you can only, I'm going to sell Black Label. Well, it's only good as if you can make the plant, you can get into the business, your plant, your people, your engineers, your liquor, if you can make money at it, which you can in the whiskey business. To make the plant, you can do it and then compete, but not in the utilities. That's probably the only thing that needs to be a monopoly, but regulated by the government, unfortunately. But that's it. But everything else is, all these other monopolies, it's got to make sense. Does Rolex have the watch monopoly? No, there's actually in the James Bond movie, there's other, he had another high-end watch. I don't remember the name of it because Rolex that he had. And there's many different watches. Do you need to spend 50 grand on a watch? No. Not on one you want to wear. I don't know if I got that $50,000 Rolex, I wouldn't be wearing it. So that's the difference, is what is your monopoly? Now, gold, there is no monopoly. I can go to half a dozen stores and online and buy gold. There is no monopoly. The price is fixed backwards. The price shouldn't be capped down. It should be capped high. And then there's not many people can afford gold. That's what they should be doing, but they're backwards. We'll keep the price down. Yeah, then everybody can afford it. The problem is your competition, the Russians and Chinese, can afford it. And that's what the U.S. is missing in J.P. Morgan. They're doing it to keep you in the dollar so they can do all these Ponzi schemes on you, right? Well, if gold gets too expensive, nobody will want this, so we'll keep the gold price down. But the problem is you're letting in the back door the Chinese, the Russians, the Indians, BRICS, all buying gold till it's gone. But it lets me and you buy gold at a cheap price, even though this is worthless. But the key is to realize this is worthless. So I've been watching on YouTube a bunch of scam videos. I was just watching one on housing in Australia. And these people are so stupid. Oh my God, they were being bussed in, and again, they don't understand the market. So people were buying houses worth $30,000 for $70,000. I'm not sure it's a scam as long as you actually got the house. You're an idiot for paying more, as we talked about these people buying gold for $6,000 an ounce when it's $2,000 an ounce. Well, then you're just an idiot. They weren't scammed. They were told it's $6,000 an ounce. And if it's me, see, you can't fuck me over. If somebody comes to me, or, I go to the store, it's $2,000. So if I went to the store and it's $6,000 and I see my Ann Arbor store is $2,000, I buy it there. If I see eBay's $2,000, I buy it there. I don't need to spend. That's why you can't do it. You can't just, he could sell it for $6,000, and it's not a scam. It's him trying to sell it for whatever the market will bear. Again, it always comes back to the market. This can only be sold at what the market will bear. So if somebody wants to buy this for $100, that's the market. Now, let's say I want to sell it for $500. If somebody wants to pay $500 instead of $100, I'm not scamming them. I'm not forcing him to buy it. I'm saying, if you want this, it's $500, and somebody's going, okay, I'll buy it. That is not a scam. So I don't know, like these people that spent $6,000 or $5,000 on gold through an IRA or something through this one company. That's their problem. They're not being scammed. They're just idiots. At the end of the day, you need to know the price of the gold, and you need to know what to buy it for. And if it's $6,000 and you know it's $2,000, why would you spend $6,000? That's your fault, not the guy trying to sell it. And I don't know how he's selling it, if it's some fancy dancy way. I know it's something to do with an IRA, and I would say stay out of IRAs. Gold is gold. Nobody knows you have it. Just buy it and hold it in your safe. Fuck the IRA. You don't need it. It is an IRA. It is a funeral expense. It is your grave. It is your kid's retirement. You can retire very easily, buy a very nice house with gold without any problems. Okay. So basically, a lot of Ponzi schemes I see are people not knowing the information. So people will buy something and then they'll blame somebody else. So the scam in Australia for houses were basically saying, I trusted the banks. Well, the banks were in on the scam too, but you've got to trust yourself. You've got to understand gold, what gold is and what silver is. And then you don't need to trust anybody, Now, I'm here to help you understand and learn what it is and how to do it and to protect you. But if I'm telling you, if you want to buy gold, you ask me how much should I pay for it. So it's $2,000 an ounce, maybe $2,100. Well, that's why I show you eBay. So let's look at eBay right now. So I show you eBay. So let's say you guys want to buy gold and you go to the gold store, or you want to go online and buy gold. You want to go to SD Bullion. You want to go on eBay. All right. So this guy's selling them at 21.84 for the Liberty, 21.38 for the Maple Leaf, and 21.41 for the Cougar. Okay, so that's what it is on eBay. If I go to a store, I'm expecting to pay $30 less. So the Maple Leaf should be 2,100 and the Cougar should be about 2,100, about 2,150 roughly for the Eagle. So you need to know that when you're going to go buy something like this, right? So why in God's name would people spend $6,000 on this? It's a gold IRA. We'll sell it to you at $6,000 an ounce. I can go on fucking eBay for 21.84. And this is a guy. This is I don't know. It doesn't say on this part of it, but and if I see this Montana rookie card, if I see this, I go, it's a $125,000 card. Granted, it's got to be PSA 10, not PSA 9. But if I see it at 125, I have an idea what the value is on the card. And that's what I'm looking at. So how would I get scammed? If I understand the information, I understand this is a market price. And if I go to my guy's store, he's lower than eBay. So if I understand, he was telling me Costco's price came down. So if you go to Costco to buy gold, the price is more reasonable because they probably thought it was a good price. And then people are saying, well, that's very expensive. Then they probably started checking, realizing, oh, shit, we're Costco. We're supposed to be wholesale and cheaper. But Costco's the same as my guy. But if you go spend $6,000, so this Eagle's 21.84. So if you spend $6,000, why? Why would you do that? And then don't blame the guy for selling it for $6,000. I can put $20,000 on my gold. And if somebody wants to pay $20,000 for it versus $2,000, I'm not scamming them. I'm putting my price. This is the market. The market says I sell it and you buy it. And if I don't have a buyer, if I want $500 for this bottle and I don't have a buyer, I don't have a market. I have a market at a specific price. At 100, I have a market. At 500, I don't. At $25, I got too small of a market. I'm going to have 1,000 buyers at 25. So that's what you try to do, and that's what the whole thing is about: is getting that optimum price. 50's too low, 200's too high, 100's perfect, and that's what Mercedes markets is. It's a Mercedes. And people will pay more for the quality of having and the say of saying, I drive a Mercedes. It's a bit infantile for me, but it is a nice car. And I did work there and I enjoyed working there. It's a very good place. Who knew the Germans would be better to work for than the Japanese? Shock. They asked me in the interview, the Japs, and they said, ever worked for Japanese before? He says, no, but I've worked for the Germans. I would think that they would be the worst to work for. And no, the Japanese were much worse. They still think the war is going on and they're a bunch of assholes. So stay away from the Japanese. But the Germans were lovely. As long as you did your work, they were fine. They respected me. Beautiful place to work. Wish I was still there. But so you've got eBay. So these people in Australia should see what's the value of these houses and go do their own research. Don't, I thought the bank would do that. Or in Madoff, I trusted Madoff. He fucking didn't tell you how he was making you money. What would you trust? You're an idiot. Now, with that said, if my father was in Madoff for 10 years and he always got his payment, but he doesn't know how he's getting it, but he knows he always gets his payment, maybe you don't care. Maybe you say, shit, I'm going to get a 15% return on my money every month it comes in. Maybe I don't care. And this is why I said the biggest Ponzi scheme in the world are the banks, because if they don't get new depositors in, guess what? They print the money to pay your, so you got 5% in the CD at Wells Fargo, you got $100,000, so you're getting whatever 1/12 of 5,000 every month. What's that, $600 or whatever? Just we'll say 600. And they don't have the money to pay you. Guess what? They print it. They borrow it from the Fed. That's what the Fed funds rate is if I want to borrow money from the Feds to pay off my guy who's got a money market in my bank, and I have to pay a monthly interest or quarterly interest or whatever it is. That's what the money market is. That's why I get steam when people talk about the Fed raising rates or lowering rates. It doesn't matter. The Fed does that to the bank. The bank does not do that to you. The interest rate you pay for the car is the banks looking to get money in because of the inflation. They don't want to lend out 10 grand and get back 10 grand in inflated dollars. In fact, they'd get back 7 grand for the 10 grand that they're doing, and they'd lose money. So they want to make money. They got to charge a higher interest rate. That's where interest rates come from, not from the Federal Reserve. It's a total moot point. People, when they hear that, they don't know what the fuck they're talking about. Keep it very simple. It's the inflation that creates higher interest rates, period. And one thing about the bank, they're you put money in and they're giving you interest. Where are they getting the money for the interest? Either they got to get more people to put in deposits, or they got to loan their money out. Now with the inflation and the higher interest rates, they can't loan the money out because nobody can afford to buy a car or a house with 10% interest. Talking to the Camry guy, it's $1,000 a month for a Camry. I paid $400. It's $1,000. Well, who's got $1,000 a month for a Camry? Now, if you're real rich, you're buying the Mercedes or the Ferrari. You're not buying the Camry. So the Camry customer market is much smaller than, well, I'm sure the Mercedes market's very small, but if you're in that market, then you don't care about the price. It's really inflation proof because you don't, or recession proof, because if you're buying Mercedes, you got money. You're not even looking at, you're like, Bill Gates. It doesn't matter what things cost. He's going to buy what he buys. So that's kind of what you're looking at, is creating the market. So back to diamonds. Is there a market for diamonds? No, you don't need it. A car you need to get around with. We agree. The Rolex, you don't really need a watch, but maybe you want to. It's catering more to the rich who probably want a dressy watch. So maybe, but I don't know. I got watches. I got to take Howard. I haven't worn it in years. It's in my safe with my gold, but basically it's 12:08. I can see on my phone. I don't, because all I really want to wear to watch is to see what time it is. And I don't care about, anything. Omega, that's the James Bond watch. So there's Rolex and Omega is the competition for it. But I knew it would pop in sometime. So that's what happens. You're creating markets. But what market is there in diamonds? The only thing they're creating is when you get married to buy a diamond. That's it. Otherwise, it's a gold ring. And nobody in gold is telling you to buy it. And they've even went away from gold, where they do titanium rings or something, which to me, no, it's gold. You don't do titanium. And my ex bought me white gold. It was a white and gold. It was white gold and yellow gold wedding ring, and I should have known then not to get married. You buy gold. You don't buy white gold. It's probably got a deal on it because it was white gold. Nobody wanted it. But anyway, so gold is a wedding ring, but then you buy the girl a diamond ring for the wedding, and otherwise she just stores it. Is it even an investment? I don't know. If you're price fixing it is, probably not. So they're price fixing something there's no market for. Really, they've created this wedding market, but outside of that, okay, I'm married. I got my wife a diamond ring. Now what? Okay, that's so one purchase, and maybe I don't. Maybe I buy the manufactured diamond ring and say, look, we'll get a nice house with the money that we were going to waste on the diamond ring. And she's like, oh, that's fine. Or I'll get you a nice car instead. And she'd probably go, yeah, that's more practical. So I'll still get this fake diamond ring. So I have a diamond ring, and then I have that. So I don't really understand what De Beers is doing, because their whole thought process from a financial standpoint makes 0 sense. So you're making a thing, you don't even know what your market is. So what do I do, right? I always do this. So when I go to get ribs, it's $27 for a slab of ribs. And I warn them, don't go to 45. So I know this is my market for ribs. What is my market for diamonds? Do you think De Beers has a fucking clue what the market is for it? I guarantee you it's not $20,000 for a wedding ring. Then you have these manufactured diamond rings, so they're not real diamonds, but they look real. It's like $2,000. So De Beers, your real market's about $2,000. You're trying to sell them for $20,000. That's one of the worst business decisions I've ever made. You can't be over market. You've got to understand your market, and you've got to price it properly. And they have no idea, and they're making a monopoly, which is a big mistake, because there's no real use for a diamond, and there's no demand for a diamond. Even at the wedding, I don't know if there's a demand for diamonds anymore. There used to be, but that's the marketing part. Sort of like Christmas. Oh, you buy gifts. That's all marketing. So that's really the problem. So if I'm running De Beers, I find my, but I'm still fucked because I only have it for weddings. So I have diamonds for weddings. That's it. I can't come up with other uses for diamonds. And I know there's earrings and there's bracelets and necklaces that have diamonds in it. I've seen some nice rubies where they're set on a necklace and there's a nice ruby and then there's diamonds around it. I've seen that, but they're not worth it. The diamonds are too expensive. So they're not creating a market for it, and they really, it's kind of a wasteless, it's the stupidest monopoly I've ever seen. Again, they should be at about 2,000 or 3,000, where the majority of people can buy diamonds, but you've priced everybody out. So I would say that De Beers is probably the stupidest company I've ever heard of. Having a monopoly means no competition. Means I can raise my prices, but it only works if there's a market and demand for it. So if I do corner the market and I'm the only whiskey company, so let's use whiskey. So I have Canadian Club and I now have a monopoly on it. And I want to do, what am I going to sell the bottle at? $10,000? No, I still need to find the market. Okay, I can probably go 500, but I'm the only game in town, I think, unless you go to wine and champagne and gin and vodka, the other ones that will get you sauce. So I'm not sure if I had the monopoly on whiskey that I could make it $10,000 a bottle and I'm going to get any business at all. So you got to be careful there. It still needs to hit the market. You cannot ignore the market. We control prices. What we buy and sell is the market. And therefore, if they want to, if you want to sell your diamonds at 20 grand, be my guest, but I'm not buying. It's sort of like these streaming services. Now they're not monopolies, but they're not demanded. There is no market for them. There's no way I'm paying to watch a football game. It ain't going to happen. So because my whole life, it's always been on NBC or Fox or CBS. There's no way I'm paying for football. Not a chance. And with YouTube, I can watch the replay. I can watch the highlight replay on YouTube, and I can basically see what happened. And I've seen enough football. I know what the fuck happened. So you've got to develop a market and show why you need to watch Peacock and watch a game. Or why do I need a diamond? What point do I need a diamond? Once I'm married, maybe I gave the wife a diamond. Then what do I need? There's no other need for a diamond. You got your diamond. Okay, fine. Goodbye. There's no market for it, especially at the price you want to charge. Now, if your market is the filthy rich, the billionaires, well, then what are you doing? So these people are fucking clueless when it comes to understanding economics. They just don't get it. You do not make it's okay to have the monopoly, but you can't price it so much that there is no market for it. And as I say, if they want to get 20,000 for a diamond, there's no market for it. The guy was saying at my gold store, he said, he says, I won't bring in the manufactured. I only want to sell the real diamonds, but nobody wants to pay 20 grand for it when the manufacturer ones are 2. Now I told him, well, you have to understand your market. Maybe you should get in the manufacturing market. If there's a demand for it, you don't give a fuck. You're a store. There's nothing you can do, but you're not scamming anybody. You're not telling them they're real when they're manufactured. So again, that would be one of these scams where somebody thinks they're buying real diamonds that are $50,000 for the diamond for $10,000 or for $2,000 and thinking they're real. And they go, oh, I can get $50,000 diamonds for $2,000. Doesn't work that way. That's where the red light should go off, the red flag, and you go, wait a minute, these are normally $30,000, $40,000 for a diamond. I can get it for $2,000. Mm-mm. Gold's different because we understand it's price fixed. We know they're really worth $20,000 and they're selling them for $2,000. It's reversed. So I am getting a $20,000 ounce of gold for $2,000. That is the difference. But I know it's really only worth $2,000 only because it's price fixed, not because of the market, not from us determining the price. So once you understand that, you know, it's like you back up the wheelbarrow and go fill it up with gold and silver because these prices are a joke, not the other way around where it's a $50,000 diamond for $2,000 and, you know, and you think everything's fine there. Well, thank you, Craig and John. That's what I'm doing here. Good luck today. It's 12:15. I'll talk a little bit more. I have a counter. So I've been on an hour 13. So I try to go 2 hours depending on what comes up. But this is the whole point. So I'm seeing a lot of scammers, and it's people that are fucking morons, basically. I can see why they scam. These people are fucking clueless. They don't know what they're doing. $6,000 for an ounce of gold. Why would you pay it? Why wouldn't you check that out? Bill O'Reilly recommends the gold. Well, yeah, but he's not recommending it at 6,000, and they're paying him to recommend it. Also, keep that in mind. So, this is the point you've got to understand is you've got to be smart to get into something. So if you're going to get into gold, God knows you need to know the price, and there's no easier way than going on eBay. JM Bullion's very expensive, but it's okay. Don't buy from them, and don't get into an IRA. You don't need to. Just buy gold and put it in your safe. You don't need it. You don't call it an IRA. There's no point in it. So that makes no sense. But it's like football and everything else. You're finding the market. What is the market? We found the market in KC Miami, 26-7, and we looked at the the variables. You had cold weather, and you got a good defense, and you got a choke quarterback. So all that. So that helps you create the market. And at the end of the day, we said we're going under 44. It should have been 34, and we went under 50 in a teaser, and we won easily. And that's what you do, is you're kind of creating a market for each game. And the best way to create the market is to rank the team. Are they an A team, a Z team, an over and under? What are they? Trying to see, you use points, and then you deep dive into who they played. And if it's Washington or Carolina, you immediately ignore it, and you get to the meat and potatoes of it. And a team like the Lions haven't played anybody. They played Baltimore and got killed. San Diego, they beat, who was a really bad coach team, but okay, give them credit. And then they lost. They split with Green Bay and Chicago, who aren't very good teams. So they didn't really beat a playoff team. The Kansas City game was week 1 without Kelsey and without their defensive player. It was a fluke, and there was a bad holding call by the refs. So KC should have won the game. But okay. But I don't consider it the same KC team that is in the playoffs now would have killed Detroit. So I'm not buying Detroit. Now, if they beat the Rams, I still don't buy them, but I do a little bit more. Dallas is a fraud. Philly is a fraud. So the only time I'm going to buy Detroit is if they go to Frisco and beat them, and then go into the Super Bowl and dominate Baltimore. Then I'll say they're a good team. Otherwise, just like yesterday, Houston. Okay, they won. They beat. Who'd they beat? Cleveland. With Flacco. Flacco throws 2 pick sixes. Is that a good win? No. I mean, they beat a team at home on 2 pick sixes from an old quarterback who's been out of the league for 3 years. I don't consider that a good win. Now, if Buffalo wins and KC and Buffalo play in Buffalo, and then you've got Houston going to Baltimore and they win, they do this in Baltimore, okay, that's different. I'm not sold on Stroud because he choked against Michigan twice, and he lost to Georgia. Hasn't won a big game. I don't consider the Penn State games or the Michigan State games big wins. So that's my point. He looks okay. I don't know. I don't see Houston games. They're not on TV. So we will, now it's a wait and see. And then you see, I got to see it before I do it. So even Mahomes, I didn't think he was that good in the beginning. And then he's won some big games. I bet Brady over Mahomes when the KC game, but Brady was the dog. And I took Brady because I knew what I got. And then Mahomes lost, but he played well. And then it starts like, okay, you're starting to prove it. Off you go. And I think I do that a lot in life with people. I don't trust them. And then as they do things, you start trusting them more. And, it's always rough with the girls when they, oh, can I have some money? And then you're going, are you using me? Is that all you want me for? And then you slowly are testing them. You give an occasional no, or I can't do it today. How about next week? And see if they still talk to you. And maybe you give them a little bit and then you don't give them for a while and see if they still talk to you. But that's the thing. It's a real trust issue. And what do you do here? Do I trust Kyle Rudolph? No fucking way. Do I trust Josh Allen? No fucking way. Like I say, I trust Mahomes. I do not trust any of the other AFC quarterbacks. I trust Stafford because he won a championship. And I'm going to trust Brock Purdy even though he didn't win a championship. He got hurt in the Philadelphia game, so I don't lose the trust. He looks good. I can tell the way he plays. I can trust him. And they've won a lot. So That's all I can say. He went to Dallas and killed them. He killed Philadelphia. Yeah, I can trust him. Can I trust Hurts? No. So this is kind of the change where you had Drew Brees. Couldn't trust Peyton Manning, but I could trust Brady and Rodgers. And that would be the big thing. So it amazes me when people get scammed is well, the bank said this, or in the Madoff, the SEC said this. Well, just ask Madoff, and if we won't give you the answer, you've got the answer. How are you making your money? Do you fucking care? As long as you get your little 15% on your investment and it's in your account and it's, maybe the first time you get nervous, oh, it's in there. Yep, it's right. Then the next month it hit. Okay, the next month it hit. Well, then what do you care what he's doing with the money? You don't care. You don't need the SEC to babysit. All you care about is that you're getting the money in. It's sitting in my account, just like the bank. What are you going to do when the bank collapses, right? And so you're at Bank of America, and so you got $100,000 in there, and they're paying you 2% for your deposit. They're here. Thank you for your deposit. What are you going to do when they stop paying you? Don't kid yourself. That's what's going to happen. They're not going to have money to pay you, because the only way a bank works is they got to get more deposits in, and or they've then got to lend your money out for cars and houses. Well, nobody's buying cars and houses now. They're too expensive with the interest rates, which leads you to buy just they need new people, and they're not. Who's putting money into a bank now? Nobody. So these banks are going to be in big fucking trouble, and they need to pay the interest. They need to. So you got $100,000 in there, and they're giving you 5%. Well, so okay, I can't loan it to anybody, so I'm going to take the money. I'm going to take the money and buy a CD with it, or a treasury bill, and I'm going to take it and buy the treasury bill, and I'll get 5% in the treasury bill. And I owe you 5%. So I can only give you 3% less than the treasury bill. But the treasury bills I have are at 0%. Now they're at 3 or 4%. I'm fucked. I can't take your money and buy treasuries and pay you back. And this is the problem with the banks. And if people should be taking their money out, and I think a lot of people are taking their money out of the banks into the stock market and into this Bitcoin delusion, and a lot into gold and silver, which really doesn't get reported. So I think there's a lot more gold and silver because there's really no tally. We got 250,000 tons, and China and Russia have 100. That's 150,000. The central banks in Europe and Asia, that's another 50,000 tons. Leaves now 100,000 tons. Howard goes and buys 2 ounces at the coin store. There's no running meter, so we don't really know what's left because I'm buying 2 ounces. I can't afford a ton. That's 32,000 ounces. If I could afford that, I would never be working again. But the banks don't like gold because there's no interest, so they can't take the gold, get the interest to pay you. So there's no way they can pay you with gold, or so they think, not understanding it's price fixed and not understanding the gold price will go up. So that's really the key. When the gold price goes up, you don't care about interest rates, and you don't care, it gives a 3% dividend. You don't give a fuck. It's going to go from $2,000 to $10,000. Do I give a fuck about a 3% dividend in Coca-Cola? So it's always about markets, but it's always about, if you're going to buy anything, you better know the price, right? And that's really the key, is understanding the price of what it is. It's very simple, yet people can't seem to figure it out. And then you can just keep hearing people getting scammed. The gold people did not get scammed. They were just stupid. They were it was stupidity, right? If you know it's $2,000 roughly, and they're selling it for $6,000, Yeah, why are you selling it for $6? And you know what? I want the $2,000 one. And that's your own fault to pay $6 for something worth $2. But it isn't their fault for selling it for $6 if they can get people to buy it. And it doesn't mean they're suckers. It just means people want to buy it. And maybe they know it's going to go up. Maybe they don't think they can get it anywhere else. Maybe they think, well, it's in an IRA. I have to buy this gold in the IRA, which is bullshit. Just buy the gold and put it in your safe and don't call it anything. It's not an IRA. It's not savings. It's gold and you're safe. So that's where we're at. So again, the monopolies are only worth if it's something that's worth that people need. Right. It's more of a need than a want. And diamonds, to have a monopoly on diamonds makes no sense. I don't need a diamond. It's like having a monopoly on New York strip steaks and you charge $30 for a steak. I can go buy another kind of steak for $10. So why do I need the New York strip? That's the problem. And if you have a monopoly on steaks, let's say, and all the steaks are $50 for a steak. So you buy chicken, you buy lamb, you buy other things. You don't need the steak. I'll buy ribs. I mean, that's the problem. It's a stupid monopoly. So I don't know what the Bears is thinking, but they're losing tons of money. And here competition comes in, but it's manufacturing, and they come in and they manufacture the diamond, so it's not real, but nobody cares. That's how stupid your monopoly is. So the Bears monopoly is absolutely the stupidest monopoly I've ever heard of. They don't get the concept of supply and demand. They're not Austrian economists. So I'm going to try to get to the pool, I think. Woke up, my feet are bothering me, but it's funny. When I go to bed and I lie, my feet hurt. And then as I start walking and like now I'm sitting and, kind of moving my feet, getting the blood flowing, my feet feel a lot better. So I don't know if it's the cold weather, the snow, or what, making my feet when I wake up really, really sore. But my feet are pretty sore. It's kind of weird. It's up here, and it kind of hurts to walk a little bit. But in the pool, I'm fine. So I don't know. I might take a day off in the pool. I'm not really sure. But it's funny. After the pool and the hot tub, I'm walking fine. So it's very confusing to me right now. But anyway, what else? So we saw alligator, or we saw Egon. I'm going to look for Egon and alligator this week. I'll probably do that now while there's no fucking game on it. But I think that's a big thing, too. As I said to Greg and John, football's always been free my whole life. I started watching in 64, 65. So there is no way I'm going to pay for a game. I'll just watch it on YouTube after. I don't need to watch it live. I've watched enough of them. But if I need the live score, I can go into Yahoo and go to the box score and see what's going on in the game. I do that with college a lot because there's so many college games. But I don't have the need to watch it live if it's going to cost me, not for the money, but for the principle. Like YouTube, for the principle, because you throw commercials on, I'm not going to buy commercial free because you're bombarding me with commercials. So fuck you. That's not going to be the reason I'm going to buy it. So again, I don't really kind of understand what streaming is versus what they do on ABC and CBS and what a DVD is. It's all the same to me, right? It's a movie. It's on TV. If it's on ABC, YouTube, or whatever, to me, I don't know what streaming really means. And that's a lot of the problem of technology. You don't know what the fuck they're talking about. I mean, they'll come out with these words. Even in finance, they'll come out with deflation. It's meaningless. It just means prices are falling. Well, like I say, so if I'm selling this for $50 a bottle, and then inflation hits, which means the dollar loses value, and this goes to $70. And then what you're telling me, oh, deflation's bad because now you can only sell it for 50. Well, that's what I was selling it for in the first place. Deflation doesn't mean anything. You lose value as the market saying I'm not going to pay because of the fucked up dollar. I'm not going to. I can't afford to pay what you've increased it for because of the inflation, which you didn't need to increase. So, or let's look at Oreo cookies. They're $2 a box. Next thing you know, they're $5 at the grocery store. They can't sell them because nobody wants to pay $5 for Oreos. They go, you buy one, you get the second one free. So now it's $2.50. So what did that prove? Not your inflation. You inflated the price, didn't mean anything. But then when the price goes back to $2.50, is that so? What's deflation? Oh, the value drops. Well, that's the market. That's what happens. But it went up because it wasn't market. So you raised the price to 5 was not because of demand, but because of the inflation that you thought you could get away with it. And then as you can't, you're now lowering your price back down to market. So you've never really left market. Market for Orioles is $2.50. That's what you're selling at. It goes to 5 and people in the market's still $2.50. Then you lower it back to $2.50 and these guys want to call that deflation and it's bad. It's not bad. It's your market. So if you went up and you shouldn't have because the market wasn't there, and now you come back down, this is the deflation part. It's all bullshit. It's the market. So I notice when I go to Toyota, he's trying to sell the car for $35,000 and nobody buys it. And this is because your market's 24 where I bought it at. You got to get the price back down to 24 because that's where your market's at. And he can't sell a car, and then it's $1,000 a month. Mine was $400. So big problems in the car industry because they need to. It's a big problem everywhere. Deflation is not a big problem. It's what is your market? That's what people will pay because that's what they're used to paying. You've made them used to buying a Camry for $25,000. Don't expect them to pay 30. Because that's what the market is. It's what they'll pay for it. And that's really the key to a lot of economics. So when they talk about deflation like it's a bad thing, it's not a bad thing. It's whatever the market is, whatever the price the market's willing to pay. Gold, it's $2,100. Now it's worth a lot more. That's why people will buy it because JP Morgan's price fixed. So he's artificially, let's say the market for gold's 10,000. Here's JP Morgan and COMEX keeping it at 2,100. Well, of course we'll pay for it because we know the real price is 10, 20,000. Because you're inflating the money, we know that gold is money, and we know that the gold has to be worth a whole lot more because it hasn't gone up with the inflation. As the dollars are losing value, gold should be a lot more because it's still an ounce of gold and the dollar's worth less, so it should take more dollars to buy it. And they're keeping the price here. That's why I keep saying, so let the price go to the market, which will be 20,000 or so, or 30,000 an ounce. That's why I buy it, because I know where the market is. The market is not 2,000. And that's the scam that playing everybody is people think that the market is the 2,000 that we're at, and it's not. So that's really the problem. Anyway, that's about it. We'll talk tomorrow, I guess. But we got a 4. Yeah, I'll probably still do. I'll probably go to the pool early, and then my normal during the week, 1 o'clock or so. I come out on the weekends earlier because of the games, but we don't have the 1 o'clock game, unfortunately. So let's finish up on that. We've got Let's look at the spread, see if anything's changed. So we've got Dallas 7 and 50.5. That hasn't changed. We got Detroit 3 and 52. That hasn't changed. Buffalo's now 10 again and 38.5. So the over's going up. I don't know why. And then Philly 2.5, 42.5. See, this is the thing. People don't understand. Why are they betting over on Buffalo and Pittsburgh? Oh, the weather's warmer. Okay, but you've got two strong defenses and two weak offenses. I mean, Buffalo's playing really strong defensively. And they held Miami to 14 points last week at Miami. And then Pitt's a very low-scoring team with a very strong defense. Even without T.J. Watt, they'll still be a low-scoring game. So why would you be betting on this game over? These are people that don't know what they're doing. This is worrisome. Anyway, those are the lines. So today, Dallas 31-24, and the Rams 34-30 over the Lions. And I base it on golf always choking, right? He's never won a big game in his life. He never will. He's a choke. Stafford won a Super Bowl, so it's going to be really hard to beat Stafford today. Plus, coming back to Detroit, he really wants this one. But basically, they just have they've got the better receivers. They got a good running back, probably a little bit better than Montgomery, and they got Aaron Donald, and the Lions don't have a defense. So from that standpoint, that's what you look at. So I'm really betting against the Detroit 27 defense. We bet against the Cleveland 25 defense, the Miami 25 defense. Pitt and Buffalo is kind of even, and then Green Bay is a 24 defense. Philly's a 28 defense. So if we bet against the weaker defenses, we'll probably win all the games. All right. So that's it. I thought it was very interesting, the diamond. When I heard about the monopoly, I know you want to get a monopoly if you're selling hamburgers, right? But there's still the market price. Just because you have a monopoly means you don't have competition. But what do I sell it for at the market? Does the market really need this thing? And they don't need diamonds. It's not a normal purchase. I would much prefer buying gold and silver than diamonds. And if I need to, I can buy emeralds and rubies if I really want a precious stone as opposed to a diamond. I don't need a diamond. They're not needs, they're wants. And if you're going to have the monopoly on them, you better know the market price, which they don't know. They're idiots. If I had a monopoly on all these diamonds, I would sell them for $1,000 a piece. I would create the demand, $1,000, and you start buying them. Then I'd maybe raise it to $2,000, and then suck them in, and maybe $5,000. Then it becomes like a Beanie Baby. Oh, good, I want to have it. Oh, they're not. Oh, it's a diamond. I can get a diamond for $2,000. That's real. But there's no point in then having the monopoly and then selling them for 20 grand. That's fucking idiotic. Nobody's going to buy them. They're too expensive. What is your market? If you don't know your market, you can't be in business. So the fact you have a monopoly, you guys are fucking idiots. Now, you might have a lot of diamonds, and I don't know what they're worth, but you don't sell a lot of them, I bet. I'll start looking into that. But, I just watched on YouTube because I went to the gold store and he was telling me about it. But yeah, he can't get it. Well, they'll buy manufactured. And you're going to sell a lot less because you don't know the market. You're trying to sell them for 20. Nobody wants them for 20. One in 100 person can afford it. Otherwise, fuck it. Anyway. So that's the bottom line, Mr. Stone Cold, as we go into tonight's games. And then tomorrow we'll have tomorrow's games. Again, Dallas 31-24, the Rams 34-30, Philly 37-34, and Buffalo 24-9. I don't really care. It's still going to be cold. I don't see where this total goes anywhere but low scoring game. Anyway, that's what's going on today. People must be out a lot. Well, it's not a football Sunday until later, so I wanted to get it in if I go to the pool. All right, well, have a nice day. www.teaserking.com, and it's in the. I tried putting a link in my thing, but I don't know how to do it. So I'll try digging into that a little bit more. All right, have a nice day.